I think from 2013 onwards, first time they have did the proper justice with this GS paper 3. First time. Why? If you'll see this year's question paper, it is perfectly balanced question paper. Reason, every section of paper 3, like in paper 3, what we do have? In paper 3, when we go for the paper 3, economy, then agriculture. One basic wrong perception among the student is agriculture is a part of what? Economy. But from the exam point of view, there is separate anchoring for what? Agriculture. Fine. Then internal security or security? Security. Fine. Security. Never consider it as a internal security only. Consider as a security. Though security concern international relations, external countries, but in India, in the context of India's internal security, the external countries are also involved. And this is perfectly seen this year when they have explicitly mentioned the question on Ladakh, which I'll let you know. Though the internal security portion, disaster management part, Umesh sir will discuss. Fine. But just telling you, you should not consider any topic only with respect to internal security. Have a wider perspective with respect to security. Okay. So agriculture, then security. Fine. Then S&T, then disaster management. Fine. So if you see this year's question paper, 50 marks economy, 50 marks agriculture, 100, then 50 marks security, 150, then again 50 marks science and technology, and again 50 marks disaster management. Means if you have missed any section, you are going to lose 50 marks. Fine. There is nothing like something is going to be big and something is going to small. Fine. And now the reason why people get less marks in paper 3. Fine. Two reasons. First, the nature of the question paper itself. Fine. The question paper's nature itself is very troubling. Though question paper looks easy. Fine. I'll show you how question paper looks easy. But as it's look easy, it's difficult to answer to get the marks. You can write the answer, but to get the marks and fulfill the demand of the question is actually very difficult in a given frame. Because question paper of paper 3 is not difficult. It is other D. Fine. So there are 2D in this context of question paper. 1D is called a difficulty. The other D is more problematic from the point of view of getting marks, and that is demanding. Fine. So demanding. So paper 3 is highly demanding in the nature. Okay, I'll show you why I'm using this word, not difficult, but highly demanding in the nature. And demanding in the sense, it is like, there's a very famous cartoon, maybe you have not heard, but basically it is for very adolescent kids, Hungry Henry. Fine. So Hungry Henry, who is always hungry. Fine. All the episode is based on Henry is hungry. Fine. So this question paper 3 is like a Hungry Henry. Why it is like a Hungry Henry? Because it is demanding too much, which you cannot fulfill. Humanly not possible to fulfill that thing. I'll show you why. Fine. Why? Because you will not, it's not like that you will not able to fulfill. You can fulfill, but not in that 150 and 250 words. you will not able to fulfill. That's for sure. So the evaluator always have a larger scope to cut your marks. Fine, larger scope to cut your marks. And that is why usually in paper 3, out of 10, you are going to score 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Fine. And in 15 marks, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. And that is why ultimately the entire marks are hovering around 70 to 90, even for the toppers. Fine. Those who are going to get a under 100 rank or single digit or even double digit rank. Fine. Marks are always hovering somewhere around 80, 90, 90, 110. This is how the people are going to score. Even the people who are having good rank, fine. How much you got in paper 3? 84. How much you got paper 3? 94. Like that figure. The reason is the nature of the demanding of the question paper. Fine. So how to overcome that, I will also discuss in this question paper. You have to be very picky about the data, facts which you are going to mention. You should not vomit what you have, all these things you have absorbed in last 1 year, especially in June and July, time of the mains preparation. So what usually students do, they will bring all the related facts. Fine, all the related facts. All the related facts are not required. All the facts which is going to, for example, if question is demanding scheme on India's agriculture credit, fine. So you should not bring all XYZ scheme on the agriculture credit in India. In the 10 marker, you have to bring those credit schemes which have larger impact than any other scheme. Just for the sake of 10 marks, 5 points or 3 points, you should not bring random one. You should pick only those one which is relevant to that particular question's demand. Understood? Now, if we'll start analyzing the question paper with question number 1. Fine. And I think it was a surprise pick. Fine. Surprise pick, because people are usually not expecting this question. People are expecting other question. They are expecting the question on UPI. Why people was expecting question UPI? Because UPI have completed its 10 years. But UPSC have different plans. Fine. Different plans. UPSC's different plan means be always unpredictable. Fine. What people are predicting, you should not go with their predictions. You can go for randomization. So they have picked digital rupee. Fine. Now, digital rupee, what they are asking, see, they are asking, what do you mean? Fine. What do you mean by digital rupee? Means question is demanding your understanding about what? Digital rupee. Fine. How you understand what is digital rupee? Then they are asking in this context. What context? Digital rupees context. Explain. First, provide what do you mean. Then explain working and progress of India's central bank digital currency. So in this 10 marker, you have to go for 3 things. First, explain what is digital rupee. Second, provide how it works. Third, its progress. How many words you have? 150. So you can have only 20 to 25 words for your introduction. Even 20 words, not more than that. And again, highly concentrated concluding remark with maximum 3 lines, going for maximum 30 to 35 words. Fine. So 35 words and 20 words, that means your intro and conclusion should be in what? 50 words, not more than that. If you'll go, then you will have an issue. Again, I'm considering 150 words can go to 160, 165 words. still you will be able to finish your question paper. Fine, still you will be able to finish your question paper. Now, what do you understand by the digital rupee? You can explain in the words, but how it works, it should be explained in words or diagram? Diagram. It should be required to be explained in what? Diagram. So if you will use the diagram to explain how digital rupee works, then you are going to have enough space about writing its progress as a central bank digital currency. Fine. So explain the digital rupee first. So people are still having confusion between digital rupee and UPI. Fine. Digital rupee is a legal tender created by whom? RBI, and got legal tender status from the government of India. So rupee, digital rupee, is a digital form of printed currency. Means if you want to do a transaction in the e-rupee or the digital rupee, you can do in the denominations. Fine, you can do in the denominations. But whereas in a UPI, if you have transactional value to pay 104 rupees 70 paise, you can pay 104 rupees 70 paise in the UPI. But in the digital rupee, the denominations 500, 200, then 100, then 50, 20, 10, 5. Fine. These are the denominations including 1. Fine. So including 1. So you can make transactions in these denomination only. Digital rupee works also in the offline platform. Fine. Offline platform. Recently, Reserve Bank of India with Odisha government, they have launched one scheme, Subhadra scheme. Fine. At where? Odisha. In that Subhadra scheme, they have used this digital rupee platform in order to transfer the money to whom? To the beneficiaries. Fine. Rather than giving a cash, they have used what? Digital rupee. Fine. Digital rupee is being used. And digital rupee is always going to be in what mode? Digital rupee person to person and person to merchant. Both you can use. Person to merchant. Fine. Person to person and person to merchant. But despite this push of the digital rupee, the progress is relatively very low. Reason? Because of very wide acceptance of what? UPI and ease of use of UPI in comparison to what? Digital rupee. So this is why, despite push by the central bank, digital rupee have not gained as much as momentum how the UPI have taken the momentum. This need to be mentioned. However, you also have to mention in your answer, digital rupee is not a replacement, or UPI is not a replacement of what? Digital rupee. It is an additional digital platform to help economy and people to diversify the payment system. Fine. So if someone will say that we can accept only cash, so your ability to make payment is going to limit. If person is saying that I can accept only card payments, credit card payments, only credit card payments, then you must have what? Credit card payment. But if someone says that cash, debit card, credit card, digital rupee, UPI, all kind of the payments are acceptable. So a wide range of payment is going to provide this facility. Fine. So usually a country should have wide range of platform for the payment services. UPI is extremely successful, but dependency on a single platform is not enough. That is why, despite limited success of the central bank digital currency till then now, there is a need to further push it. This is the line which you are going to conclude. Fine. But this question reminds us, questions are not only current based. Fine. So those people who believe in 365, fine. So those who believe in 365, those who are listening in the classroom, maybe they will not understand, but those who are listening online, they will understand what 365 I am telling. Fine. It is unethical to directly like going for anything. So I do not want to go unethically, but I at the same time want to give you the message also. Relying too much on something is always dangerous, whether it is UPI or it is 365. So those who relied on 365 only, they are saying that, sir, paper was very difficult. Of course it was difficult, because what you have read in 365, 60%, 70% are not there in this question paper. So if you know that this platform is very wide, okay, this platform is very wide, and imagine you are working in the UPSC. Fine, you're working in the UPSC. So you will never get interested to know what UPSC exams being considered by the people who excel the exam. Like you are working in the UPSC. Fine, imagine yourself. You're working in the UPSC and you are being a part of the examination process. Fine, you are the part of the examination process, and your job is to set the question paper. Fine. Now the thing is, candidates who become successful, they always going for what? Different their own platform, YouTube, Instagram, Kilogram, sorry, this one Instagram, YouTube, and one more platform is like, Telegram, Telegram. So on these platforms, people are going to tell about themselves, how I have prepared, how I have cracked this difficult nut of UPSC. So being as a person who is setting the paper, when you will see this video and the person is claiming that I cracked it, you will feel happy or you will feel challenged. And challenge accepted. One mindset. Other mindset, I also want to know how they are cracking, and that should be not patterned, so that someone will follow that pattern and start using that pattern only to crack the exam. We want genuinely hardworking candidate who are working for entire year, reading all good sources, anchoring the newspaper, which is very difficult to sustain. Reading the newspaper is not a big job. Reading the newspaper on regular basis, fine, without being deviated, daily devoting 1 or 2 hours for the newspaper, analyzing each and everything, where what is happening, that should be rewarded, or the summary which is created in the form of 365 or 965 should be rewarded. The purpose, the person who have worked throughout the year should be rewarded. But in that way, maybe you will fall in a trap and you are going to make extremely difficult question paper. Fine. So what UPSC do? UPSC will pick certain themes which are already in the news, but at the same time they will also pick a surprise topics. Surprise because you are expecting and it is not being there, but they are well validated sources which are being in the news throughout the year. This digital rupee, if you see the RBI annual report of past 2 years, they are mentioning almost one chapter on digital rupee. Fine. And RBI is consistently pushing digital rupee. And digital rupee is very much part of RBI's bigger plan. And there is 3-4 article in past 1 year on e-rupee. Fine. So those who are reading the newspaper for throughout the year, they will identify this is also an important matter which is going in the economy. Fine. It is also going to the, but it is not like buzz. Fine. It is being in the discussion panel, but it is not a buzz topic. And because in my 365, I have to pick 90 themes or 45 themes. So in order to create a material of 120 page, I need to pick 40 to 45 to 50 topics, top 50 topics. So when I have to set the hierarchy of 50 topics, I have found that there's a digital rupee also in the news, but it is not as prominent in the news. So that is why I have removed. And top 50 topic I have chosen. So those who are sitting in the UPSC also have an idea ki what is being used by the student more prominently. So they are well aware of this fact. So relying on one particular material is not a right strategy overall. I'm not saying you should not see it, you should see it, use it, but do not rely only on that material. Your fundamental anchoring should be what is running in the newspapers throughout the month. Find important topics of the economy, important topics of the polity, important topics of the environment, important topics of each and every area. Month-wise what? Anchoring. Fine. And this happens usually when you are reading the newspaper throughout the month. Fine. So topic anchoring. Now, like for example, flash flood happened at Nepal. Fine. Flash flood happened in the Nepal and almost 100 Indians are missing. So we have NDRF, National Disaster Management Force. Fine. SDRF is there. Fine. But what if the disaster is being stuck in the neighboring country, and then how we are having the better coordination? Because majority of the rivers which is flowing in the northern India, they are coming from where? Nepal or from China. Fine. So there is a need of inter-country coordination for better disaster management or not. So this flash flood. So you should develop this ability. You saw the tragedy. Fine. You saw that. What is the job of policymaker? To react or act. Act. Act promptly or act as a mechanically. Promptly. And how you can act promptly? You saw something happen. So genuine concern should be emerged in your mind. How such disaster can be addressed. Fine. And now these days you are well equipped with the artificial intelligence. You find this question in your mind, Nepal disaster have impact on India. So how do countries who are neighboring with the border, sharing the border and river, if disaster will stuck in one country, how the two countries can create a system so that promptly reporting to the other country will help. So the additional angle came in your mind with respect to what? Disaster management approach. So this level of the thinking you have to develop in your mind. So something which is being reported in the newspaper, it should not be taken only as it is. Your mind is more powerful than anything else. So you should consider those things also. Fine. So you saw the topic. Then after seeing the topic, how question can be framed? Why topic this topic is important? Fine. This is the time you need to spend. Okay? Understood? Now, see, if I will go to the question number 2, fine. Examine the view that financial inclusion is an integral part of social and economic inclusion in a country like India, not India. Country like India. See the language of the question. Question is not explicitly saying about what? India. Country like India means your introduction and conclusion. Fine. See how cleverly they have asked this question. What they're expecting from you. What they're expecting from you. And Global South means what? How we will address this thing in the answer? How will address this thing in the answer? See the question. Examine the views that financial inclusion is an integral part of social and economic inclusion in a country like India. Also throw a light on the usefulness of RBI's Financial Inclusion Index. Fine. So if you do not have an idea of Financial Inclusion Index, your question will be evaluated only for 5 marks. Fine, only for 5 marks, not is going to be for how much? 10 marks. So Financial Inclusion Index, most of the people have studied for the prelims point of view. What is the Financial Inclusion Index? So those who are able to recall, they can answer this question. Otherwise, people will not able to answer this question. Fine. Now, examine the view that financial inclusion is an integral part of socio-economic inclusion. Fine. To socio-economic inclusion. Fine. Your answer should start with the importance of socio-economic inclusion. Fine. And to initiate this, Government of India have started a program, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Fine. So Jan Dhan Yojana was not only for economic inclusion. It is for what? Socio-economic inclusion. The JAM Trinity. Fine. So you have to anchor the JAM Trinity and you have to mention certain examples. How this socio-economic integration happen. Social integration, how will anchor this social integration? Social inclusion. How you will anchor this social inclusion? Upliftment of marginalized section. How? Opportunities for employment. Okay. So when Jan Dhan Yojana bank account is being opened, fine, majority of the beneficiaries are economically empowered section or economically weaker section? Economically weaker section. And in the economically weaker section, majority of the people are minority, marginalized people. Fine. Not only minority, but also marginalized people. With this, Government of India, through the banks, is capable of getting the data of all those people who are belonging to that section. With this data, government can use for various social sector schemes like health mission, education mission. So cross usage of the data with the data collected through what system? Through the system of JAM Trinity. Fine. So that cross utilization of the data will help government to not only implement economic development but social development related scheme. And the insurance and the health benefits, they should not be considered as an economic benefit, they should be considered as a social benefit. So the insurance integration along with the bank account, providing the insurance service, providing the health service and benefit transfer to the people in their bank account was very much social in the nature along with the economic objective. Fine. So this is you need to mention. But how country is progressing in the financial inclusion, that need to be what? That need to be properly assessed, and wherever the shortcomings are there, that need to be addressed. And for that purpose, what is being launched? Financial Inclusion Index is being launched with focus on accessibility, usage, and how it is being widespread. Fine. So with this objective, it is being launched. But still, you are missing the key point. How to conclude? in this question, as they are demanding what? Countries like India. So after mentioning the importance of financial inclusion, after mentioning the indicators of financial inclusion index, then you have to mention कि in the recent time, India's UPI, India's integration of the public which is marginalized with the digital payment interface is being instrumental and being talked much on international platform. So India can take a leadership position in the global south with respect to its success in what framework? Financial inclusion framework, digital public infrastructure based success. So the digital public infrastructure success can give India a leadership position to push the entire global south to attain more inclusive growth socio-economic level by including of what? Financial inclusion. This you need to mention in your answer in the conclusion. So here conclusion will take more words. Fine. So conclusion is going to take somewhere around 40 words. And you may have to go for 15 to 20 words in what? 15 to 20 words in the introduction. That means this question is going to take somewhere around 170 words. It will take 170 words. So you have to buckle up, speed up, and write that answer in the most forward manner. Means you have to speed up in this answer because this answer is demanding little bit extra. But if you write this answer in the well manner, then you will be rewarded for sure. You can fetch up to 5 marks out of 10 in this question. So financial inclusion index should not be written in what? It should not be written in the words. It should be mentioned in what? Diagram. That's it. When it was launched, what is it? 3 lines, mention it, percentage, done. Financial inclusion index should be in what? Diagram. Only then you will be able to finish your question in 160 to 170 word and to fetch the marks. So with the discussion of these 2 questions, what you have learned here? Before writing the answer, you should not only think what to write, how to write. The structuring of an answer is very important, and structuring means what to write and how much to write. Usually in drafting, what people will do that in the drafting of an answer, they think about what to write in the introduction, what to write in the body, what to write in the way forward and conclusion. But it is not enough. What to write and in how many words I have to go for it. So if you have a clear anchoring in your mind, this number of words are required for this section, this number of words required for this section, this number of words required for this section, then go for what? Drafting. So what usually students do, they will see the question and they will start thinking, I will write these things in the introduction, I will write this things in the body, I will write this thing in the way forward, and I will write this thing in the conclusion. And you start writing and your answer either going to less with respect to demand. Usually it not happen. Usually student will shoot up the demand. Means 150, 160 words required and you end up in 180 to 200 words. Reason? Because you thought that what I have to write. You have not thought about in how many words I have to write. So make sure while thinking about what to write, immediately set the lines. 15 to 20 words, introduction. 40 words for what? Conclusion. So first anchor what? First anchor your answer in terms of intro and conclusion. Then picture will be little bit easier for you to adjust. But now if I have not included this thing, introduction and conclusion, and this answer need little bit lengthier conclusion, fine, 40 words is required. So if you have already exhausted too many words at where? In the body of the answer. Do you have a scope to write the proper conclusion? No, and you will lose the marks despite knowing it. Despite knowing the answer, you are going to lose the marks because you have not structured it well. So remember that structuring of the answer is not about the keywords. Structuring of an answer is also about well balanced word limit of intro, word limit of the body, word limit of the way forward and conclusion part. Structure it well. And what is a smart way to play? If you are shooting up the word limit, use the diagram and flowchart. Fine. To be remain in the word limit. So that need to be done in the spontaneous manner. You read the question. Fine. How much time you have in the exam? 3 hours. Total question 20. Fine. So deduct 2 minutes for each question to think, process, design, and then write. So if 20 questions are there, you have given 2 minutes each question. Suppose if you have given 2 minutes for each question, so how much you have given up? 40 minutes. Writing time is 180 minutes. 180 minutes, 4,000 words. Can you write? You may think you will not able to write, but you will write. In the examination pressure, fine, the speed of the pen and mind is going to rise like a rocket. आपको अभी नहीं समझ में आएगा, but when you sit in the examination ना, then you will realize कि you are going to work like a jet engine. Fine, with afterburners. Fine, so jet engine with the afterburner mode is on, and you will able to do it. How you will able to do it? Because you have already have a clear frame in your mind. If I will dictate you something, and you are going to write the same thing on your own while thinking, when you will write fast? When you will write fast? When I am going to dictate, or when you are going to write on your own? No. You will able to write fast when I am dictating. But if you have already processed and then you are writing, then your speed will be super fast. So you are going to think and write. Parallel processing is going on. Thinking, writing, thinking, writing, thinking, writing. Fine. So that thinking and writing take most of the time. When you are not supposed to think, you have to write it down because you will not get an opportunity to write it again, and it is very important for your exam point of view. So imagine a situation, I am dictating something which is going to come in the exam, and I will not repeat any word. And your padosi who's sitting beside you, he is doing this ki maine dikha raha, what I am writing. Then what will happen? You will learn that you have to write very fast. But the third one, when you have already processed, this is what I have to write, then your writing speed will be ultra fast. And this is why people are even able to finish the question paper even 5 minutes before the exam bell is going to ring finally. 5 minutes before. This year again, many students with whom I am in touch, some of them they are not able to finish, but some of them they are able to finish well in the given allotted time, though they have written 150 words question in 160 to 170 words. Still they are able to finish. Fine. So trust yourself, you will able to write. Of course, you have to work on the writing speed. Work karna padega. Fine. You have to work on your writing speed, and more importantly, set your mind how to approach the question. Read the question, analyze the question. First, crack the demand of the question. What question is demanding? Cracking the demand of the question, create a rough picture of keywords, how you are going to write your answer. Then again, distribute how much for introduction, how much for the body, how much for the way forward, how much for the conclusion. Final frame set, start writing. Fine. So technically, you have 3 hours. Fine. 3 hours. Total question 20. So 180 minutes you have. 180 minutes you have. How many questions you have? 20. So if I will ask you for one question, how much time you have? Technically 9 minutes. Technically 9 minutes, 180 minutes, 20 questions. Each question you can allot how much? 9 minutes on an average. But one question is of 150 words and one question is of how much? 250 words. Then half of the question can get 7.5 minutes and rest of the question will added with what? 11.5 minutes. Fine. So 10 marker question need to be finished in how many words? 10 marker question need to be finished in how many minutes? 7.5 minutes. 7.5 minutes. Fine. And the 15 marker question should be finished in what? 11.5 minutes. What you have deducted from here, you have distributed to 15 marker question. Fine. So every question need how much? Every question need 10 marker, 7.5 minutes, and 15 marker question need how much? 11.5 minutes. Now see the maths. If you have even given 2.5 minutes for thinking, processing, analyzing, structuring, in 5 minutes you can easily write 160 words. Easily you can write. आपको लगेगा नहीं, but आप लिख सकते हो. Fine. And you can test this thing yourself. If you have the writing speed of 40 words in a minute, then you can write 200 words in 5 minutes. If you have 30 words per minute, fine, which is not a big challenge. You can easily write 30 words per minute. You can easily finish 150 words in how many minutes? 5 minutes. So this is what I am telling you. Trust yourself. You can easily finish your question paper. People get panic. नहीं sir, paper छूट जाएगा. My paper is going to be lost. I am going to lose the questions, and that is why I am going to think and start writing. अरे क्यों करना है भाई? Why you want to go for suicide in this question paper? Think properly. Give half minute to do what? Read and think about the question. Fine. Why? How? They have asked. Fine. And be respectful for the question. ये क्यों पूछ लिया? Fine. This is what happened. What nonsense is this? Why this question is being asked? If you will be in that mode in the examination hall, you are getting angry, you lost the question. You lost the question. So mindset should be positive. They are going to test you. So you should not be annoying or agitating why they have asked this question. Arey bhai, that is their right to ask any question and that is why they have asked. My job is what? To answer the question or agitation. For example, this year prelims. Everyone is doing ki bahut difficult question paper tha. Very difficult question paper. So what? People are writing the mains or not? They are writing the mains, they will get successful and they will finally find their name in the list. And those people who are agitating, they will remain agitative. And these agitating people will find every year they're crying for something. No question asked from the polity. Next year, maybe people will cry, no question will be asked from the economy. Next year, no question from the geography. So that cry will go for every year. So do not be agitated. Understand the question papers, demand, respectful for the question, ki okay, they have asked, now I have to answer. So mindset should be very positive with respect to the question, ki okay, when the question will be asked, I have to answer. That is my job. Your job is not to analyze the level of the UPSC's difficulty paper. क्या करना है? क्यों करना है? आधी से ज्यादा जनता YouTube पे क्या कर रही है अभी? Difficulty level of the question paper. क्यों करना है? Why I have to go for this nonsense? Not required by. Ultimately, students should get to know that ki how to answer the question paper rather than creating fear or kind of sense ki question paper is difficult or this or that. I told you one simple thing. Question paper of GS paper 3 is demanding in the nature. Demanding means you have to bring a lot of things, data, facts, analysis, all these things need to be precise and pinpoint. This is the nature of paper 3. Fine. And anyone who do not understand this preciseness, they will feel question paper is difficult. And that is why people say that paper is difficult. तो उसमें मत पढ़ो. Question देखा, saw the question, analyze the question, give 20-30 seconds to analyze the question, prepare the draft for next 2 minutes. Fine. First 30 seconds, read and analyze the question. Then next 60 seconds, do what? Analyze how to write. Last 60 seconds, frame the answer. How many words for the intro? How many words for the body? How many words for what? How many words for the way forward if required? And how many words for the conclusion? Give a one look. Again, this is my draft. Start writing. Enough time you will be able to finish. And 60 seconds is more than enough. You can do this, if you do good practice now, you can do the same work in 1.5 minutes. And you can well finish the question paper in a given time. तो उसका दिमाग से निकाल दो. Answer can be gone in 150, 160, 170 words. So in 150 words question, you have a scope to write in 170 words. Why I'm emphasizing on this? The reason is, in that given 150 words, you will not able to justify the demand of the question. So you need extra words. And because of the fear of shooting the word limit, people are not able to justify the demand of the question and they lose the marks. Okay, so understand UPSC's mind. Not to trap you in the difficulty, to trap you into address the demand. So you will be trapped how to address the demand. You will worried about word limit. Word limit is not enough, but it can be manageable. Because any 10 marker, even it is having 3 parts, you can easily go for 170 words in a given time. Okay, in a given time. In 250 word, there are only few questions which demand 280 or 290 words. Only few. Majority of the question you can finish well in what limit? 250 word limit. So 250 word wale question mein issue nahi hai. There is no issue. Majority of the issue in what marker? 10 marker. Understood this? Now, see. Third question. Classic example of too much demand. Describe various. अब this various word is a clear word or abstract word? Abstract. Various. Various people told me that ki UPSC question paper is not easy. Who are those various people? I do not know. Fine. So they have wrote various. Fine. That means it's a clear message from the UPSC to you. What they're asking? Describe various technology mission initiated by Indian agriculture. Various technology mission initiated in Indian agriculture. Examine their role in food security. Fine. Now, are they one or two technological mission or multiple technological mission? Multiple. So what classic mistake will be done by the students? They will randomly mention all the technological mission and they will fall in the trap. You can mention many technological mission in the introduction, but those technological mission which they have helped in what? Food security, that to be written in what? In the body of the answer. Fine. So how to write this answer? I have to mention various. See, now I have said the question. Describe the various technological mission initiated in the Indian agriculture and examine their role in the food security. Fine. So I have this thing in my mind. Various technological mission related to Indian agriculture and their role in what? Food security. Okay? This is what random access memory usually we do have while seeing the question. We can use what? These short forms, various technological missions. Fine. So various technological missions. So they are these technological missions. Fine. And in that what? In that which is related to what? Food security. So these missions, it should be anchored at where? In the intro. In the intro. Then those technological mission which is going to support what? Food security, they should come in the what? Body. Then their performance at that mission should be critically analyzed. and suggest way forward 2 to 3 points, and then conclude. Technological missions, various technological missions launched by the government of India since independence, especially from what? Green Revolution. Fine. Various technological missions have mixed success that need to be addressed in a better uniform manner and more technological driven approach and skill improvement in the agriculture sector. So skill improvement in the agriculture sector need to be mentioned in the conclusion. Means conclusion can easily finish in 25 words. 20-25 words, you can finish the conclusion. Here, introduction will be get little bit lengthier because you have to mention various technological mission. So at least 5-7 missions you have to mention. So 5-7 mission, considering one mission in the short form having 4 to 5 words. PMJDY. Fine, 5 words. Fine, PMU. So at least 4 words you will find in every abbreviative. So if you are going to mention 5 schemes multiplied by 20 and space, going to take how many words? 25 words. So introduction here is going to be what? Little bit lengthier. 40 words introduction. Fine, 40 words आपको किस में जाएंगे? Introduction में जाएंगे. Then balance it with the conclusion in 2.5 line. So intro and conclusion is going to take how many? 65. That means again this answer is going to in what range? 170. Fine. Now again use the flowchart diagrammatic approach, technological mission and its connection with what? Food security. Use the diagram. When you will use the diagram, again you can cut short the word in somewhere around 150. So initially answer is shooting up to how many words? 170 words. But with the diagram approach, flowchart approach, you again concise into how many words? 150 words. So this is how I am going to approach this. Structure is ready, keywords are ready, start writing. And this question is going to again finish in what? 150 words. And the main thing which you have to focus in this what? The Green Revolution. Fine. Green Revolution success and Green Revolution's shortcomings. Regional asymmetry. Fine. Then because it is related to the food security also, for food security, the storage. Fine. The storage and the cold chain is the bigger issue. Fine. So success, immense amount of the production. Fine. India have excel in the production in majority of the things, but despite that there is a lot of wastage, and that is why we need to upgrade what? We need to upgrade our storage facility and the food chain. Fine. And food processing industry also. So food processing industry, cold chain is going to be anchor with respect to what? Issues of food security. This is what you have to plan your answer and execute. Fine. But remember that first you should not create a structure of your answer by having word limit in your mind. Word limit can be adjusted at the last before the writing. First you should think how to answer this question. Answer कैसे करना है? How to write introduction, how to write the body, how to write way forward, and how to write the conclusion of this answer. Rough structuring. Calculate whether it is going to in the range of the word up to 170, fine. Shooting 170, 180, then it is a problem. You have to rework on your structure. Trying to decimate in how many words? 170 words. Then apply what technique? Use of flow charting and diagrams. Reduce it to how many words? 150 words. This is standard modus of operandi when you are going to approach paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. And even your optional paper also. Paper 4, I will not say anything because paper 4 is not my cup of tea. And I do not jump in those things where I do not have a confidence. Simple. I belongs to the older generation where UPSC do not have explicitly mention of ethics. Now the ethics is being mentioned, so I do not want to deal with those things. Fine. So for paper 4, I will not comment. Better Umesh sir is going to discuss the paper 4. Sir will tell you. But for paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and in fact essay and your optional, this approach is perfect approach. आप अभी भी बिलीव नहीं कर रहे होगे, मे बी यू आर नॉट स्टिल बिलीविंग, बट व्हेन यू विल एग्जीक्यूट you will face problems, but after a certain point of time you will find that ki your answer is going to be exact 254 words, 248 words, 260 words. In that way your answer is going to finish. 240 to 260 का range होगा ना, आप उसमें आ जाओगे. आप काउंट करोगे ना, when you are going to count your words, you will find your answer is exactly finishing in 240 to 260 words. That need rigorous practice. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you have to go for the rigorous practice. But you will able to do that. And more importantly, in the given time. So in a given time, so what should I target first? The given time or framing? Framing and execution is the main job. Framing and execution will give you the idea. So when students will come for the mentorship program or test series program, whether it is a general studies or optional, they ask, sir, I have shoot up the word limit. But even before that, I'll tell them, no, I do not want you should finish the question paper in a given time. You're writing first time, you're writing second time. I want you should express yourself properly. So that I and you will get an idea ki how much time do you need exactly to finish your question paper in the appropriate manner. And then I have an idea ki the question paper is of 300 minutes and or 180 minutes and I have taken 400 minutes. Well above 180 minutes and I have taken 400 minutes or 300 minutes. What limit is how means time allotted is what? 180 minutes. So this is where I am standing and here I have to reach. So now you will work on the solution. But if you have finished the question paper in the given 180 minutes in the practice mentorship program or test series program, you have finished your question paper, you left 4 questions. You will never come to know that ki how much exact time is required. But if you have attempted total 20 questions, took somewhere around 4 hours. Fine. So you have clear-cut idea ki okay, I took 240 minutes to attempt how many questions? 20 questions. Exam is providing how much? Exam is providing 90 minutes. Sorry, 180 minutes. So technically, I need 10 minutes for each question and UPSC is giving how much? 9 minutes per question on an average. You can do your calculations and accordingly work and improve. But you are never going to compromise with your quality of your answer. So quality of the answer is the first thing to improve when you are writing answer. Don't worry about the time limits and all. It will gradually improve as your speed and endurance as well as what? Writing speed and endurance is going to rise and your processing ability is going to rise. Fine. So how to address this question? What I will do? I will mention various technological missions in the introduction itself. Then I will anchor those technological missions which are related to what? Food security. And then I will analyze what are the basic issues. 2-3 points I will suggest in the way forward. And I will mention in the conclusion, from now onwards, all the technological missions should be anchored around what? Food security. So the food security should be the main anchoring for launching any technological mission. This is why they demand this various technological mission with what? Food security linkage. They want you should write this. What you should write this? You should write this ki how technological missions can help the food security. Understood? Now, explain the factors responsible for inefficiency of agri produced marketing. अब मैं भी थोड़ा claim कर लेता हूँ. Fine. So in the lectures, when we discuss the agriculture marketing, we have discussed about what are the major issues of agriculture marketing in India. Fine. APMC is a problem. Fine. And ENAM is a solution. Fine. APMC is a part of problem and ENAM is a part of solution. But if you will see this question, here clearly they have mentioned what? E-commerce help to reduce the inefficiency of agri-product marketing with what? Question mark. Fine. So now what question is, explain the factors responsible for inefficiency of agri product marketing. How e-commerce help to reduce inefficiency of agri product marketing? Explain. Question is demanding explanation. Explanation of what? Two things. What are the issues in the agriculture marketing and how to address these issues, especially with focus on what? E-commerce. Fine. And we have did this thing in the class of what? Agriculture marketing is basically in India anchored around what? APMC. So agriculture marketing price discovery is totally based on what? APMC. Those students who have not did in the class, we will do the agriculture chapter, then we will do that. So you have to write the major issues of APMC. Fine. Then you have to mention ki India have what? India have went for eNAM platform. Fine. eNAM platform. eNAM platform is there, but eNAM platform is still not fully matured. So there is more need of aggressive pushing of what? eNAM platform. Fine. eNAM platform. So question is not only requiring that demand how this e-commerce platform are useful. You also have to mention at least 2 points how we can make e-commerce platform more efficient to address the inefficiency of agriculture marketing. That is a hidden demand in the question. So the question is demanding basically 3 things. What existing agriculture marketing platform we do have, what we do have, and what is a problem in the existing system. So APMC, we are going to outrightly mention the problems. Then as a solution, what we will mention? eNAM. But in the solution of the eNAM, we will say that still there is a scope for what? Improving the eNAM platform. That need to be mentioned and conclude. So here the introduction and conclusion is not very challenging. You can easily go for where? 15 to 20 words in the introduction, 20 words in the conclusion. Means 25 you can give to what? 25 you can give to intro and conclusion. Now the answer's heart and soul lies in the body of the answer. Fine? Body of the answer. In that body of the answer, India's agriculture marketing platform, make a flowchart. Fine. Make a flowchart and smartly make a flowchart in the online platform and offline platform. So how I will mention the India's agriculture marketing platform? India's agriculture marketing will be mentioned in 2. One is digital and what? And ground-based. Ground-based. So in the ground-based, what will come? APMC will come. So I have shown the agriculture marketing in India. Fine. And then loose selling also happen. Loose selling is also happening, especially for what product? Like horticulture. So sometimes there is a loose selling also. Fine. Farmer produce market, where the farmers are directly selling to certain companies. Fine. So in this way, I will mention this diagram. Then I will focus on what are the major issues. Point number 1, 2, 3. Major issues. Fine. Then solution, more in strengthening and focusing on what? eNAM. By doing this. So you can write 30 words how to improve eNAM. You can write 70 words for highlighting existing inefficiency of what? Inefficiency of existing agriculture marketing. So my entire 150 words are ready. 25 words intro, 25 words conclusion, 70 words for highlighting the APMC and agriculture marketing issues, 30 words, 10 words for 3 points for what? For way forward for improving agriculture marketing. Ab likho. Now you can easily write in what? आप 4 minutes में लिख लोगे, मैं बता रहा हूँ. You can write this after structuring this. You can write in the 4 minutes. इतना speed होता है. आपको ट्रस्ट नहीं होगा लेकिन आप लिख सकते हो. When you are having the clarity and already you are running behind the time or you are, see, देखो confidence जब एक बार आता है ना, when you are going to gain the confidence in the exam, then hand is going to like something at next level. Hand, eye coordination, fine writing speed, each and everything is going to perfect sync. And when you see your copy, if you'll get a chance to see your copy, though you are not going to get a chance, but if you'll get a chance, then you will going to surprise. ये मैंने कैसे लिखा था? Fine, how I have wrote that thing. And sometimes I have very good, not very good, like surprising thing. So when we talk certain people who got very good rank, fine, their public chit chat. ठीक है, and because being as a teacher, you know them for years. Fine. So when they come to the public and they'll say that ki, I have did this, I have did that, and when you are going to sit with them privately, like, हाँ कैसे लिखा था सर नहीं पता. ठीक है, उस समय क्या दिमाग में चल रहा था, what was going in that mind at that point of time, I still do not know that, how I get that. That is the grace of the God. Fine. But no, beta, that is not grace of God. Grace of God is that He have given a strength to you to execute that task on regular daily basis what you have did before the exam for last 300 days. तो एग्जाम के 300 दिन पहले 300 days what you did regularly, writing answers, showing your answers, working on the improvements, that works actually. So that works like a magic in the examination hall. ठीक है? So what you are doing from now, August to February, March, April, that will reward you. Last 3 months before the prelims, last 2.5 months before the mains is not going to reward. That is only force multiplier. What work you are doing September, October, November, December, January. Okay? These months are actually your selection decider. August is already gone. September, October, November, December, January we do have. In these 4-5 months, as much amount of hard work, answer writing you are going to do, it will reward you. Understood? So, now, let's go for our fifth question. Explain by giving 2 examples how biotechnology has helped the Indian farmers in processing their perishable crops. अब perishable crops में क्या example आएगा? Perishable crops. Do you know what is perishable crops? Example: horticulture, fruits and vegetable flower. Flowers, fruits and vegetable based products, they are basically what? They come in the perishable domain. Fine. So question have not outrightly mentioned the word what? Horticulture. But question is directly focusing on what? Horticulture. Fine. Horticulture. Now you have to mention what? The biotechnology example. Biotechnology example. So biotechnology example help the Indian farmers in processing their perishable crops. So question is basically derived from what? Food processing. Fine. Food processing. Fine. So how this food processing industry is growing? So have you seen that many of these quick commerce platforms, they are using what? They are using a already sliced vegetable being sold by them. Fine. Sliced vegetable is being sold by them. Fine. So how this vacuum technology is being used, how the other methods is being used, you need to mention. But if you do not know certain technology, you will not able to answer. So this question is not only of agriculture. The moment the science teacher is going to see this word, what word? Biotechnology. The claim goes to whom? Science and technology question. Fine. But it is also anchoring what? Indian farmers. So agriculture and economy teacher is also ready to take a claim. This question is a hybrid in the nature. This question shows that even in the questions of agriculture, UPSC will not hesitate to ask science related thing. Fine. So here it's a clear-cut message from the UPSC. Agriculture is no more about just agriculture and economy, but also science can be used. Means next year you can expect a question on drones and satellites. अभी इन्होंने क्या पूछा है, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में पूछा है. अभी वो स्पेस को कैसे कनेक्ट करेंगे? दे आर गोइंग टू कनेक्ट द स्पेस विद व्हाट? एग्रीकल्चर. सो दिस इज अ मैसेज यू हैव टू लर्न इन योर माइंड. सो हाउ टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन? दिस क्वेश्चन इज प्रिटी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड एंड सिंपल टू आंसर, बट यू कैन आंसर ओनली when you know about what? The certain biotechnology things which is helping to the farmers. In comparison to first 4 question, it is easiest to answer. What you need to do? You have to first mention the issue of perishable crops. Ki what perishable crops? See the situation in India. Around 30 to 40% crops in India in the horticulture sector get destroyed because of not having proper food processing units and storage facility in the country, and it is a severe problem. Though there are certain missions launched at various level, they have helped India to reduce the destruction of perishable crops. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Despite these usage of these biotechnology based things, still there is a huge scope, because still the destruction of the perishable crops is still very high with respect to other countries, that is around 24%. So there is further need to strengthen the food processing industry, and here government can provide support through the inclusion of food processing industry into PLI scheme. Production link incentive and more focused approach and categorization of food processing industry into MSME sector. That need to be mentioned. Then you have to conclude. And how you have to conclude? With a positive note. India in the beginning of this 21st century was wasting almost 40% of the crops of the perishable goods. Though over the time the effort it decreased to 24% with the various effort made by the various governments in the country, but still it is high. So that food sector need to focus, because as perishable goods are going to be sustained through the processing, it will also help to manage what? Inflation. Which inflation? The food inflation. So with the mentioning of food inflation, you have to close your answer. This is what UPSC expect from you when you are writing answer on food processing industry. So food processing industry is not just any other industry for the purpose of generation of employment and income. Remember this. Food processing industry is an industry which have a potential to help all over the economy by limiting and controlling what? Food inflation. Releasing the pressure on central bank to increase the interest rates in order to bring down what? Inflation. So see the advantage. If your food processing industry is well established and well grown, then that food processing industry will help to reduce the prices of food articles, and food articles have still 42% weightage in our inflation. Fine. So inflation can be sustained, and from middle to high inflation we will reach to the middle level of the inflation, and that middle inflation is going to give a much needed space to central bank to expand the monetary policy to help the economy, because inflation is under control. So this is what the significance of which industry? Food processing industry. And those who are sitting in the class, if you remember that when I started this food processing industry, I told this thing in the beginning, the importance of the food processing industry. That is why it is included in what? Syllabus. Their extraordinary significance to having a potential to help in the inflation management. So remember that whenever question will come with this word, what? Food processing, fine, or processing industry. Fine. So the processing industry with respect to agriculture, it is basically anchored around topic of what? Food processing industry. And food processing industry's ultimate goal is not only to sustainable income and employment generation, but also what? To help to ease the pressure on central bank to control the inflation, because it is going to sustain or it is going to ease the pressure of food inflation. That is a tagline should be in what? In the food processing industry. अब agriculture पे अगर question है, if the question is on agriculture, so agriculture question, if you want to get a tag or status of developed country, still agriculture sector is the largest sector of generation of employment. Fine. Majority of the population still lives in the rural area, and the main activity in the rural area is what? Agriculture. So whenever the question is on agriculture and you want to give a good conclusion, add this factor. What factor? Agriculture is a key for India's development goals. Fine, developed economy goals, because 70% of the population is still based in the rural area, 65% population still based on the rural area, and that is completely dependent on what? Agriculture. And agriculture sector, if agriculture sector will grow, rural consumption will grow. And if the rural consumption will grow, then India will be less susceptible for any economic shock which is generated in the Western world. Why? Because Western world is helping Indian economy in what sense? Primarily service sector and industry sector. So if service sector and industry sector is going down, the demand generated in the urban area is also going to what? Down. But if the rural growth is sustained and powerful, then economy can still sustain the aggregate demand, because rural demand is still stable. So basically when we demand the goods and services, demand is coming from urban area and demand is coming from which area? Rural area. So demand which is coming from rural area can be sustained through the growth in what sector? Agriculture sector. So agriculture sector is not just agriculture sector. Agriculture sector is a backbone. Agriculture sector is a sector which can provide much needed cushion to sustain your economy, even when you are facing international pressure. Fine. So this is how to anchor this topic. Now, let's see. Other questions are of other topic. Now let's see the question number 11. Fine. See, I was telling you about the question on the security. Ladakh is strategically located between whom? China and Pakistan. So those who feel that internal security, not as a security, see the question directly mention of what? China and Pakistan. So UPSC is not bound by any limits. Fine. UPSC is not bound by any limits. Like in childhood, we have seen the epics of Mahabharata and Ramayana. Fine. So in that one particular moment, when there was a fight between whom? Arjuna and Bhishma. So Krishna got very angry. You have to lay down your weapons and go for your death. So he got also angry. I am not going to do that. So Krishna was like, if Arjun can't do that because he is considering you as a great grandfather, I will do it. So he said that, Bhishma said that, you can't do that. I have this boon of what? Iksha Mrityu. I can die on my own wish. Then he said that, the iconic line, and which is perfectly also fit on UPSC. There is nothing, Hindi में उन्होंने बोला, what he said that, कोई भी ऐसा श्राप, कोई भी ऐसा वरदान नहीं है जिसको मैं मिथ्या ना कर सकूं. I can destroy anything. I can create anything. I am the creator and I am the destructor. So I can cross any lines and I can create the lines. So you can't broke me or you can't stop me. I can kill you in an instance, and for that I do not need a weapon. I can kill you with the chariot only. Then he realized कि नहीं, I have to bring down the weapon. So please respect the UPSC. They can go for anything. Don't be agitated कि ये क्यों पूछ लिया, ऐसा कैसे पूछ लिया. अरे भाई उसका काम है पूछना, तुम्हारा काम क्या है, आंसर करना. So go with this objective. Do not be judgmental. UPSC is doing this. इन सब चीजों में टाइम वेस्ट मत किया करो. Do not waste your time in that. Fine, focus on that thing. So I was telling that security topic. Fine. So there is no clear-cut line. Though they may ask this question in paper 2 and they can ask this question in paper 3 also. Like one question they have asked here. See the question number 11. Explain the key challenges for India's energy security. Fine. What measures do you suggest for ensuring energy security along with economic growth with sustainability? If they have not added this extension, question is of what? International relations. Fine. And even it is mentioned in paper 3, main anchoring is of what? Main anchoring is of paper 2 only. And paper 2 only here, not only international relations. Paper 2 anchoring polity, governance, IR, economy, sab likhna hai yahan par. Everything you have to add. Why? First, explain the challenges for India's energy security. Fine. What challenges India do face in the energy security, and see what classic mistake is done by the student here. Whenever this question will come, majority of the students, what they are going to see that Iran war, rising petrol price. नहीं, उसको नहीं करना है. Because now India see its energy security not only in terms of fossil fuel, but what? Renewable energy sources. So India's energy basket and India's energy security is not only related to what? Fossil fuel based. Now it is also have integral part of what? Integral part of renewable sources. This line need to be mentioned in introduction. India's security challenge, which is conventionally seen as a security of fossil fuel sources, but India have long-term commitment of net zero carbon emission. In that respect, India have already switched its approach with respect to energy security by having multi-pronged approach to secure the fossil fuel sources and establish a vibrant system, sustainable system for what? Renewable sources. Okay? Then what major challenges India is facing right now to sustain its energy sources are? Two parts. First part, fossil fuel sources. Second part, non-fossil fuel based sources. So we have how many words? We have 250 words here. So introduction need a powerful presentation. You can allot 30 to 40 words for the introduction. Similarly, conclusion also need a powerful presentation. Again, you can allot how much? 40 words. So 80 words you are going to exhaust in your intro and conclusion. How much is left? 170 words are left. And 170 words are left, and paper is on what? GS paper 3. So 170 words are left. Now you have two things in your mind. What? India's security challenges and suggest ensuring energy security along with economic growth and sustainability. So here you can write answer in two ways. One way is I will mention what are the challenging issues, how India is addressing, and what India need to do. Fossil fuel section, renewable section. So fossil fuel section, what challenges I am facing, what India is doing, and what India need to do. In single point, I will mention 3 factors. Second point, all 3 factors. Third point, factors. So every point A, point B, point C, in what section? Fossil fuel section. Fine. Fossil fuel section. Point number 1, India is facing this challenge. Government of India is doing this thing, but this is required. Fine. Second point, India is facing this challenge. India need to do this. India is doing this. Fine. So fossil fuel section, 3 points I have mentioned, and each 3 points challenge what government of India is doing and what need to be done. Second approach, like for example, in this way you have attempted what? Fossil fuel. Similarly, you have to go for what? Renewable energy. And the key is to fetch more marks. Do not write too much on what section? Fossil fuel. Write more points on what? Renewable section. And get a good marks. So 170 words we do have. 70 words for fossil fuel. 100 words for renewable sources. And for both fossil fuel and renewable sources, we have 3 things. Challenge, what government of India is doing to address that challenge. And third is what government should do. Now, other approach is what? In other approach, introduction, conclusion is same. Fossil fuel section, non-fossil fuel section is also same. But here what you can do, challenges you can mention first, then what government is doing and what government need to do separately. I will prefer to go for integrated approach. Each point, problem, government's approach at present, what government need to do. Second problem, what government is doing, what government need to do. Third problem, what challenge is there, what government is doing, what need to be done. So in this way, I will prefer the answer. Fine. So this is how to address this question. But this question itself shows that the question is not related to only economies understanding, international relations. तो दिमाग से निकाल दो. You have to remove this thing from your mind कि question paper is on economy, society. Bring it. Whatever you want to ask, bring it. I am fully prepared. Even if you ask question of Indian economy in the Indian society, I am ready for that. I don't mind. I don't mind. Ask anything anywhere. And this is going to happen in coming years where you will find more and more cross questioning. Fine, integrating from Indian society to urbanization to Indian economy. Fine. Rural electrification. So rural electrification is basically an economic topic, infrastructure. But rural electrification, how it is going to help the Indian society? Fine, that might be asked there also. So cross integration is always possible. Fine. Now, the next question is typically economic question. How are the startups in India promoting entrepreneurship, innovation, and employment? See, 3 things. Entrepreneurship, innovation, and employment. Fine. All three I have asked. Then they are asking discuss. What to discuss? Global and domestic challenges in their working. And suggest suitable measures to overcome these challenges. Fine. Overcome these challenges. Now, this question is asking too much. Fine. First, you have to write about Startup India, how they are doing in where? Entrepreneurship. How they are doing in innovation. How they are doing in the employment. First, address this. Then you have to mention what? Challenges. Global level challenges and domestic challenges. Then you have to go for what need to be done in order to overcome those challenges. Now see, in this question, you can play very smartly. How you can play very smartly? I will anchor only on these things. My entire answer will be focused on what? Entrepreneurship, innovation, and employment, and startups in India. So, startups in India, entrepreneurship, innovation, and employment. So how I am going to write this answer? I will mention about government's initiative of Startup India and how they are focusing and helping to generate entrepreneurship, innovation and employment. Then I will mention what challenges are they facing for promoting what? Entrepreneurship. What challenges they are facing with respect to innovation. What challenges they are facing with respect to employment. And that challenges will be well divided into two parts: global, domestic. Global, domestic. But then I will find that here global and domestic mentioning for each and every point is a little bit difficult. So I will anchor my challenges at domestic level, and after mentioning domestic challenges, I will club all these three and will mention what challenges? Global challenges. Fine. And then on the basis of that challenges, I will write what need to be done to increase what? Entrepreneurship, innovation and employment. But giving the equal weightage in the suggestion is a wrong, because already we have saturated at where? Promoting the entrepreneurship in the startup 1.0. So the startup 2.0 of the government of India should be focused on what? Innovation first and employment generation. Majority of the startups in India, they are doing what? They are lagging it in where? Innovations and employment generation. Entrepreneurial skill is very much high. India have 2.64 lakh registered startups in India, and majority of them, they are coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Fine. So we have good enough number of the basis of what? Entrepreneurship under startups. So first startup program was based on expanding the horizon of startups in India. Now the focus should be on what? Sustaining and moving it upwards. So in the first, we have focused on expanding the startups. Now the focus should be on maintaining and putting level up of these startups. So focus should be more on what? Innovation and employment generation in order to sustain and grow these startups. And one thing which you can mention explicitly, startups should get access to the government labs. Startups should have an ability to connect with the universities. As of right now, IITs and leading engineering colleges in India, they are actively pursuing this. But it is largely not seen in the other university and college levels. Fine. So that is required to do that thing in order to make this sector more successful. Fine. In this question, introduction can be normal about Startup India and with what objective Startup of India was started. Then, before concluding line of the introduction, you can mention that startups have pushed what sector? Entrepreneurship, innovations, and employment. So in the body, what we will do, we will examine these three factors. Which factors? Entrepreneurship developed by the startups, innovation developed by the startups, and then what? Then employment generation by the startups. Here I will do what? Here I will mention what I will mention, what they have did, what they have missed. What they have did, what they are missing. After mentioning these things, I will identify the reasons why and what reasons they are facing right now. And then I will go for what? Then I will go for solutions. So this question is going to be addressed in 5 layers. Layer number 1, introduction. Last layer, conclusion. Then the middle 3 layers. In the first layer, what entrepreneurship, innovation and employment is being focused under the Startup India. Then what challenges they are facing, and then third tier is of what need to be done. So answer is in 5 layers, and first and fifth layer is common in every question. First layer, introduction. Last layer, conclusion. And to what means to what intensity I have to give to the introduction and what intensity I have to provide to what conclusion. That is also very important. Fine. So this is how I will address this question. Now, how Indian agriculture has been transformed from food scarcity to food surplus level. Fine. Explain the various government policies implemented for diversification of Indian agriculture. Fine. So this question is very interesting question. I'll tell you why. First, they are asking what? How India's agriculture transformed from food scarcity to food surplus. Fine. And the food surplus have created the problem of what? Diversification need. How India was facing a scarcity. Fine. So India was facing a scarcity in the food grain production. That is why India bought what? The Green Revolution. India bought the Green Revolution. And with that Green Revolution, what happened? The production of rice and wheat went in the excessive manner, and then MSP become what? Problem. And because MSP is becoming a problem, that is why government is focusing on what? Diversification of crops. Fine. Diversification of crops. So this is main intention behind this question. Do you understand or not about how the surplus production is not only something for which you should pat yourself? This also have created a problem. And there is a need to address this thing in the more appropriate manner. So it is very important to understand the question first before going to address this question. So questions analysis even before drafting of an answer is very much required. No other question till then now have created a challenge to how to write, how this question is posing a challenge. Fine. So this question need to be drafted in more sophisticated manner. Fine. Rather than in any other question what we have seen. So this question have three things. Historical aspect of what? Food security. Present of what? Surplus, as well as what? The challenge of diversification. So introduction must address these three things, and conclusion also address these three things. So in the introduction, we will mention about early 1960s and when India was forced to PL 480. Even in the today's economic class, I have mentioned about this PL 480. Fine. So you have to mention about what? PL 480's disastrous thing for the India and humiliation. Then launch of what? Green Revolution, and then demand for guaranteed MSP protest in the introduction. Fine. So we have find a solution for a problem, but the solution have not went all checks or all the rights, and it has created another problem which need to be addressed. So you have went for this thing in the introduction. Now in the body, first we will address this part. What part? What India have did for food scarcity to food surplus. And remember that do not only go for that Green Revolution. Land reforms also played an important role. So land reforms along with what? Along with Green Revolution need to be mentioned. Fine. Though APMCs have many issues, but the APMCs also have provided the place for marketing of those agriculture produce. So mentioning of APMCs is also worth. Fine, you have to mention there, but mention with the rider. What is the rider here? The rider here is APMCs have provided a platform, but over the years APMCs have went for the more and more problems rather than part of solution. Fine. Then you have to switch from food surplus as a success, food surplus as a problem. So introduction, addressing all these three: food scarcity, food surplus, and diversification of India's agriculture. Crop diversification, surplus, scarcity. Start with the scarcity, mention the surplus, and surplus to food diversification or crop diversification issue in the introduction. Now first tell ki how India have achieved from food scarcity to what? Food surplus. First part. Second part, food surplus to demand or need of what? Food surplus to need of diversification of the crop. Fine? That need. And for that, what India is doing? What India is doing for crop diversification and what issues India is facing, and then what should be done. So see, again here I have two ways to write my answer. One is I will write introduction, then I will go to address this part, food scarcity to food surplus. Of course, here we are going to talk about only what points? Positive points. Fine? Here. But when I will switch from where? Food surplus to need of diversification. Then I will start with success or issues. Issues. How food surplus have created a problem of diversification, need of the diversification. Fine. Too much production of wheat and rice and the procurement of wheat and rice majority from some states like Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. They have created a problem of MSP is going to only certain part only. And this has created a asymmetrical distribution of agricultural wealth. Fine. So that is why that need to be addressed. With what? Crop diversification. Then you will mention what? What government of India is doing for what? Crop diversification. But facing challenges. So layer number 1, introduction. Layer number 2, food scarcity to food security. Layer number 3, the need of diversification. Why there is a need of diversification? Layer number 4, diversification and the challenges. Layer number 5, what need to be done in order to address the diversification challenge. Fine. Then the conclusion. And in the conclusion, you have to mention that the crop diversification need in India should be addressed not only from the point of view of agricultural improvement. There are the crops which are not only creating the diversification problem but also ecological challenges. So the diversification of the crop is no more only agricultural challenge, but it is also a climate resilient challenge. So this is why it should be seen as not a problem of agriculture sector only, but also overall problem of Indian economy and ecological sustainment. With this, you have to conclude. Got it? So this is how you are going to see. Conclusion of an answer always should show how in-depth understanding you have about the topic. If you will fail to show your in-depth understanding of the topic, then you will not fetch the marks. So you have to show your vision, which is not being explicitly demanded in the question. Do not try to decorate like what students are trying to decorate, how it is going to help India to be developed country by 2047. अब हर क्वेश्चन में चिपका रहे हो, इन एवरी क्वेश्चन इट विल हेल्प इंडिया टू रीच 2047 डेवलप्ड कंट्री. नहीं रिक्वायरमेंट है. व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड? व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली एज पर द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन एंड हाउ इट इज रिलेटेड टू द अदर पार्ट्स. फूड प्रोसेसिंग कहां पे एंकर करोगे? इन्फ्लेशन पे एंकर करोगे। एग्रीकल्चर को कहां पे एंकर करोगे? वेयर यू आर गोइंग टू एंकर द एग्रीकल्चर फॉर 2047 गोल। बट क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, वेयर यू हैव टू एंकर अ क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, you should not stick what 2047 goal, because it is not related. 2047 goal is related for whole agriculture sector. This point, which point? Crop diversification is more relatable to what? Sustained agriculture, not over usage of water and sustained water and sustained ecological goals. So this is more relatable there. So more relatable, then the evaluator will understand you do not only have a knowledge, but you also have a vision and analytical skills. Understood? So this is why conclusion can have one line of message. Okay? Now, see this question. Discuss the different types of subsidies and support provided by the government of India to agriculture sector. Examine the related issues pertaining to agreement of agriculture of World Trade Organization. ये तो तुम लोग नोट से भी देख सकते हो इस आंसर को. In the notes, straightforward answer is being there. Agreement on agriculture. When I have discussed the WTO, I have talked about 3 boxes: green box, blue box, and amber box. And which box is most problematic? Amber box is most problematic. So subsidies are basically of 2 types. One which distort the agriculture trade, and subsidies which do not distort the agriculture trade. So those subsidies which are distorting the agriculture trade, when government is providing income support to whom? Farmers. So when government is providing income support to the farmers, then the market price is going to be what? Manipulated. So see, agriculture, WTO is what? WTO is an organization to facilitate trade. When trade will happen? Trade will happen when the trade conditions are equal for all or unequal? Equal for all. But when government provides supports to the farmer, especially in terms of input and income support, then farmers are able to sell their crops at lower price level in comparison to other countries' farmer. So Indian farm product is always going to have an edge over other countries' farm product. Why? Because government of India is supporting their farmers by providing this. Fine. So this is why subsidies is a still bigger issue in what? Bigger issue in the world trade. Now, if I will go for this specific question, discuss the types of subsidies. Fine. Discuss the types of subsidies and support provided by the government of India to agriculture sector. Examine related issues pertaining to agreement on agriculture of World Trade Organization. Fine. So how to write the introduction of this question? What classic mistake done by the student? They will see the question in the fragments. Question have 2 parts. One part, subsidies provided by the government of India, and second part, subsidies issue in the WTO. But see the overall picture of the question. Government of India provides the subsidy. That subsidies are going to create an issue of trade in the agriculture, which is an issue for whom? Which is an issue for WTO. So you have to understand the sensitivity of the issue. Can India detach itself from the WTO? No. Can India discard their farmers for the WTO? No. So the WTO and the agriculture has one of the biggest challenge faced by the government of India in the present context. If India will side it with the WTO, it will be utterly disregard and ignorance to the agriculture sector, which is sensitive and important. But if India will completely side with the agriculture sector in India, then India is going to do what? India is going to lose its global connection. So this is why this topic becomes very sensitive. So what you will write in the introduction? You will write in the introduction the subsidies and the WTO agreement on agriculture is highly sensitive issue with respect to policy making in India's context. Subsidies is required to the farmers, but at the same time these subsidies also distort the trade, and that need to be addressed in a delicate manner. Government of India have taken certain initiatives for this regard. First, let's understand what subsidies are being given. So first you have to mention subsidies. Again go for what? Diagram. 3 subsidies: amber box, green box and blue box. What is in that and what is the final limit? Developing countries 10%, developed countries 5%. Developed countries 5% means value of total agricultural produce 5%, total value of their agriculture produce in developing countries 10%. But the base year is 1989, which have severely limit government's ability to support farmers, and that is why India have not agreed. And because India have not agreed, then the concession is being given to developing countries. But in the Bali summit, developing countries agree to limit and follow by this 10% rule by 2020. Fine. But again, India have defied. India said that it is not possible. So we are not going to follow this 10% rule. We will go for it more and more support. Now that has opened more negotiation in what? Agreement on agriculture in the developing countries as well as developed countries. So how to anchor this answer? See, this question is highly technical in the nature. Until unless you have knowledge of agreement on agriculture, types of subsidies, what happened in the past, what is happening right now, you cannot answer. So 365 is not going to work here again. What you need a thorough understanding of issue of agriculture in the WTO trade and how it is related to what sector, how it is related to the agriculture subsidies in India. So what I will do first in this question, first I will write about subsidies and support given by the government of India to agriculture sector. Fine. How this helps farmers, but how the distort trade in the agriculture at what level? Fine. And agreement on agriculture have put a limitation of what? 5% and 10% on whom? Developed and developing country. But it was based on too old base year 1989. That is why developing countries are agitating and they do not follow what? 10% rule. In Bali summit, it was being agreed, but again, India said no for this. So still, agreement on agriculture is one of the outstanding issue in the Doha round of the talks. So Doha round of the talks were started for this agriculture and still it is not thoroughly concluded. Fine. So see, I can see on your face you are not able to get it because you do not have a thorough understanding of what matter is with respect to what? This topic. So until unless you have a thorough understanding about the topic, you will not able to answer, number one. But if you have a thorough understanding, those who are listening online, if they have this understanding, then how to answer this question? See, you have to emphasize the sensitivity of the issue, fine, to trigger your answer in the introduction. Subsidy versus agreement of the agriculture in the introduction. Then types of subsidies given by the government of India to the agriculture sector. Then pick amber box, which is most problematic. Fine, most problematic. Once you have mentioned, then the conflict of amber box subsidies and the developing countries, especially whom? India. What is the current status of that? Then what need to be done in order to create a fine balance? between what? Agriculture subsidies as well as what? As well as agreement on agriculture. And again in the conclusion, you need some smart tactic. See, on the topic of agriculture, in WTO, developing countries are in the defensive position. Fine. Pressure is on whom? Developing countries to limit the subsidies. Fine. And that pressure can be not taken, but countries like India go for counter-offensive because there are the certain issues on which developed countries are in the advantageous position. For example, putting a tax on electronic goods. So on electronic goods, country like India and other WTO member countries have to impose less tax. They cannot beyond a particular tax because all the countries have signed a treaty to less tax to promote more and more IT-based industry. Now, these developing countries are taking the advantage of it. So, if developed countries are pressurizing India on what matter? Agriculture matter, then India can launch counter-offensive on what matter? On the IT matter, so that India can go for better bargain. This need to be anchored conclusion. So, agriculture issue. See, India should not give up the subsidies to agree on agreement on agriculture of WTO, because it is not possible for country to give up its national interest for the interest of other countries, and agriculture is India's national interest matter. So in order to solve this problem, this is one solution, the counter-offensive strategy. If India is being pressurized on the agriculture matter, India should pressurize the developed countries on what matter? IT export matter, and then can get better deal from WTO. This need to be mentioned at where? Concluding remark. So this will give the evaluator a perfect understanding what the subsidy issue is, what WTO matter overall. So actually, now I'm telling you what actual condition is. Actual condition is the developed country want the favor should be remain continued on what products? IT products. That's why they pressurize India on what matter? Agriculture matter. So India also have to go for what? Counter strategy. India should focus on what? More counter-offensive on what? More counter-offensive on IT sector. Get the leverage at where? So this is what the main issue in WTO talks since Doha round has started. And this is what the evaluator is expecting from you to mention in the concluding remark. So it will show your perfect understanding of subsidy, agriculture, WTO and all. Fine. So this is how to address this question. Got it? Now, when I say what came from the notes and all, to be very honest, certain areas you can predict question will be there. Certain areas you cannot predict. 10 marker questions are highly unpredictable from which topic they will ask. There is no blur line between, or means no clear line between prelim syllabus and the main syllabus. UPSC is like, as I said that, Lord Krishna, what I want to do, I can do, you can't stop me. Fine. So if you can't stop, then you can respect and reply what they demand. So comprehensive knowledge is a key for upcoming UPSC exam. You should not study in the silos. I'm studying polity, or I'm studying economy, I'm studying this or that. How it can be used, how technology can be used in the security, how economy can be related in the security, in the polity, in the society, interrelated approach is required, but conceptual clarity should be there. So conceptual clarity, interlinking, and thorough reach to the 1 year events through the newspaper. This is the key to get the success in the exam. Basic conceptual understanding of the topic, interlinking of the topics, along with what? Ongoing issues which are consistently cited in where? Newspaper. This is a key for your mains and prelims exam. Mains is a game of tactic, and I told this tactics to you ki how to frame the answer, how to set the word limits. Fine. And prelims is a strategy game, how you are going to strategize, and mains is about how you are going to play the tactics. So tactics is something which is used in the battlefield. When we are in the battlefield, then we use the tactics. How to go in the battlefield, that is strategy. Fine. So you should be very clear how I am going for the prelims exam and how I am going to approach in the mains examination, how to write an answer, because 3 hours continuous writing, analysis, bringing the facts, data. In prelims question, you have 4 options. Fine. So you have some muscle memory plus what? Plus the clue given in the exam. In mains, you do not have any clue. You have to bring your analytical power. So this is why I says that mains is a tactical game. Prelims is a strategic game. So plan yourself for the prelims. Prepare yourself for mains. Okay. Plan and prepare. Prepare means continuous writing. Plans mean you have the clear strategy. By this time, I will finish this topic, this topic, this topic. And when I say finish the topic, read from the notes and books, attempted the PYQs, solve some model questions. So that is plan. Read, revise, attempt, analyze. Then follow the same. Read, revise, attempt, analyze. This is how you are going to do. Fine. In mains, read, analyze, write, feedback, work on those feedbacks, improve. Okay? So work karo. Now the other questions will be dealt by sir tomorrow. Okay? Thank you.